Hey everyone. In this episode, I have guest Melanie Solari on, and she's talking about her journey. She graduated from NHTI and she went to work at a periodontist office. And so in this episode, she talks about her journey and how she developed her clinical skills over the course of her career and really just embraced the learning process. What I love about Melanie's story is that she really has unlocked the secret sauce to success in overcoming burnout by continuously improving and growing on your journey as a clinical practicing dental hygienist. Her heart is in public health, so she has a little different perspective, which I absolutely love. And I think you will truly enjoy when you listen to her. You can just hear how much she loves the field of dental hygiene as she shares her story. So I just think it was a truly, I'm very grateful for her coming on, and I think it was a truly wonderful conversation. Anytime I get to spend time with Melanie is a good time. So take a listen. Hey everyone, welcome to the Happy Flosser podcast. My name is Billy Lunt. I am your host, and I am here to talk to you about all things dental hygiene to support you on your journey through the dental hygiene program. Welcome, so glad to have you. Hey, are you in dental hygiene school or just got your acceptance letter and just started dental hygiene school and you're worried about how you're going to fit it all in, what the evaluations are like, what the key strategies you need to set up in order to be successful? You don't want to have worked all this time to get accepted into dental hygiene school only to make some pretty major errors in your first and second semester. I've put together a course that will really help you set yourself straight right out of the gate and get yourself started on the right foot in dental hygiene school. Whether or not you're just entering school or you've done your prerequisites and you're just well on your way halfway through, this course is designed to help get you straight and keep you straight so that you can become a dental hygienist. Click the link in the show notes and check it out. So I have Melanie Solari on the podcast, and Melanie and I met each other at NHTI working together. I'm so excited we were able to connect today and get together to have a conversation about a field that we both love. Melanie, welcome to the
Absolutely.
podcast.
Thank you so much for having me, Billy. It's so great to finally link up. I know we've been working hard to try to find a date and time that works for us, busy moms, but great to see you.
Yeah. So we can start right off by talking about how you ended up in the field of dental hygiene. I know that before we got on this call, we talked about the 5-year mark, the 10-year mark, and how our perspective changes over the profession. So I'm excited to hear your journey and
Yes.
how you got started in the field and then kind of, you can just let it unfold and talk your way through your whole journey.
Okay, that sounds great. Well, my journey, I guess, started. I knew in high school that I wanted a career in healthcare. And by my junior year, I had narrowed it down to dental hygiene and nursing. And so I was doing some job shadowing of both. And honestly, I liked them both. I was really having a difficult time deciding which direction that I wanted to go. And while they're different, they just both had different aspects that I found appealing. And so one day I remember sitting in the lunchroom and I was having a conversation with the dentist of the dental office that I was job shadowing. And I just asked him, I said, how did you decide between dental and medical? Like, was there a part of you that maybe would have wanted to be an MD, but you decided to be a dentist? And I'll always remember his response because it was so candid. He just started to laugh and he just said to me, he's like, it was easy. I wanted a life. He's like, I didn't want to have to worry about working nights and weekends and holidays. And he's like, I don't want to miss my kid's soccer game. And that just struck me so profoundly. I was like, I've made my decision right here and right now. I knew that eventually I would probably have a family and that I wouldn't want to have to make those sacrifices of maybe working on Christmas or, some of the other difficult choices that nurses might have to make. And so I was like, okay, this is it. I'm all in. I'm going dental. And that's exactly what happened. I graduated high school. I went right to NHTI, dental hygiene program, which I completed in 2003. And from there, I went right into private practice. I got hired in a periodontal office. And my first, I would say maybe 5 years of working, I was really just focused on perfecting, right, my technical skills. And the periodontist I was working with, oh my gosh, he was just so wonderful. He's since retired, but he was also an instructor at Tufts Dental School. So he would have me complete the scaling and root planning on all of my patients for the first few years. And then he would say, okay, now you're going to assist me in osseous surgery, and we're going to see where you've left calculus. And at first, when he first said that, I was like, oh my gosh, like I'm going to lose my job, you know. But he was so great. It wasn't like that at all. It wasn't a reprimand at all. It was truly a teaching moment. And so he was just so wonderful, so wonderful. And so that's exactly what would happen. He would lay the osseous flap. We would see where the calculus was, and he would give me suggestions, technical suggestions of how to improve my scaling skills. And so those first 5 years is really, I mean, I really, really learned how to be a periodontal dental hygienist. All thanks to him. He was just incredible, and he gave me the confidence to keep learning and to not get discouraged, because it's very easy. I think that a lot of dental hygienists, we tend to have type A personalities. I don't know about you, Billy. You're maybe a little more laid back, but I know I have a type A personality, and I can be very hard on myself, and I want perfection immediately. And it's not realistic, right? So he was really good for me. He was just a fabulous teacher, and it was just wonderful. So I continued working with him. I mean, I stayed at that office for 20 years, but I continued working with him. And when I hit about my 8 year mark, I decided that I wanted to go back to school. So I enrolled at the University of Bridgeport, which I know that you um, completed a degree there as well.
Yes.
And over the next 2 years, I completed their bachelor's completion program in dental hygiene. So it was a really busy time in my life. I, life had happened. I got married. I had two babies. I was working. I was in school, but it just felt like the right time for me. And I was really ready for like another challenge, I guess. And I knew that eventually I probably wasn't going to want to just stay in clinical practice for my whole career. I wanted to make sure that I had some options. So I didn't have any specific plans to utilize that degree right away, but it was like something in my back pocket, and it was a professional goal that I had set for myself. It was important for me to complete that. And as a few more years went on, and I was really kind of getting the itch to transition into public health. It was just something, public health has my heart. It just truly does. And I was like, like, how do I even do this? Like, how do I even make the jump from private practice to public health? And so what I did was enrolled in the certified public health dental hygiene courses at NHCI. And during one of those courses, I got to meet Deb Albrecht. I had never met her before. I'd heard the name and, all these fabulous things about her, but she, at the time, of course, was the department head at NHTI, its dental hygiene program. And so we just started having a conversation, and I was just letting her know, that I was interested in public health. And we sort of got on the topic of adjunct teaching. And I was like, oh my gosh, I would love to do that, So we had exchanged a few emails, and she took my information. And she said, I'll let you know when something opens up. So some time had gone on, and I remember the day. It was in August of 2018, and I saw on my cell phone that I had a missed call with a voice message from a number I didn't recognize. And so I listened to the message, and it was Deb.
Yeah.
And she was offering me a position, an adjunct teaching position, to oversee the community dental rotations of the senior dental hygiene students. So involving taking them to Merrimack County Nursing Home and Merrimack Valley High School. And I didn't even have to think about it. I mean, normally I put so much thought into any decision I make, like, how does this affect my life? What am I going to do with the kids? But I was so excited. I was like, it was just like, yes. I called her back and I'm like, I don't know how I'll make this work, but the answer is yes. And so that was such an amazing time in my life, because I do feel really blessed that I do feel like that opportunity fell right in my lap, right? Um, but that being said, even though I did accept the position, the adjunct teaching position, I couldn't let go of my perio office. So I was doing both. I still wanted to keep a day in private practice. And I was at that time I was 2 days a week, I guess, with the students. And as time went on, it just evolved. I took a position in the radiology lab for dental assisting, which was so much fun. I truly enjoyed that, as well as senior clinic. So everything was going along great. I decided, I'm like, I really like this. I'm going back to school on top of everything else. And I ended up enrolling again at the University of Bridgeport, their Masters of Dental Hygiene in Education and Public Health. It was the dual track masters, which I know you completed as well. So that was really busy, because now I was a busy mom. I was in private practice, I was teaching, and I was in grad school.
Oh my
So
goodness, my
it was a
goodness.
blur. It was just a total blur. But then in the spring of 2020, COVID hit and literally just turned the whole world upside down. And so when COVID hit, in those initial months, nobody really knew much about it. Everybody was scared. And so essentially my community rotations position, it just ceased. We weren't allowed to take the students into nursing homes or their schools, of course. So when that was sort of put on pause, my perio office, the private practice, they really needed my help. They had had a couple of people retire. Some people were too scared to come back to work. The whole time, that whole time frame was just so crazy. So I was like, of course I'll help you. And so it just ended up, I ended up kind of transitioning back into private practice just because of how everything had happened. Also during that time, my husband left law enforcement, started a whole new career. He started traveling. And so when it came time that things with COVID had settled a little bit, and I would have been able to go back to the adjunct position, it just no longer worked with my family. Matt was traveling all the time, and I had to be home. I
Yeah.
just had to be home with the kids. So that was okay. I just kind of, I've kept that like in my back pocket, that I would get back to NHTI someday, when the time was right. And I know we talked a bit about this earlier, but last spring, I hit my 20-year mark. It was my 20th anniversary of being a dental hygienist. And it was just such a profound moment. And my life was in transition. We had a kid going off to college, and this was 20 years. And I was like, this is big. Like, this felt like the right time to make a move for myself, right? Always putting your kids and your family first. And I felt like it was like the first time that I could be like, all right, like, things have eased up a bit here. If I want to make a move, now would be the right time. So I really wanted to get into public health. That was really my ultimate goal. So I reached out to Dr. Shannon Farrell, who I
Yeah.
know you know very well, and she had recently accepted the position at the New Hampshire State Prison as the chief dental officer. And she was just like, she's like, we would love to have you up here. And we talked things over, and I was like, I just think this is the right time for me. So I made a really, really difficult decision to leave my dental office that I had been at for 20 years. And, like we were discussing before, you really build those relationships. The relationships I had with my patients, they were like family to me. And then, of course, my coworkers, all family. So it was a hard decision, but I knew in my heart it was the right one to make. So I did. I left, and this past summer I took the position at the New Hampshire State Prison, which has been wonderful. I can't even tell you how fulfilling that position has been for me. And Dr. Farrell asked me just shortly after me starting that role, she asked if I would be willing to oversee dental hygiene students from NHCI coming in for their community rotations. So it like felt like the heavens opened up. Like I was like, oh my gosh, it's like my opportunity to do both. And I couldn't say yes fast enough. So I get to have it all right now. I am working in a public health capacity that I always wanted to do. And I get to oversee the students again, which is just so much fun. So much fun.
Oh my gosh. Your s
Yeah.
your story has I have so many things to say. Your story has so much in it. So,
Yeah.
the fact that you worked in an office where you had a true teacher
Mm-hmm.
who cared about developing your skills.
Unbelievable.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and how interesting that, because I know me, when I first got my first job, I was like, "Oh my gosh, I just didn't wanna leave any calculus anywhere." But
Mm-hmm.
the
Mm-hmm.
reality is, especially periodontally involved
Yeah.
patients, all those root concavities and adaptations that you have to make with your instruments. That what an
Exactly.
opportunity for you, Melanie, to really
Yes.
go through that.
Yes, I agree with you, and it felt like it felt in my core that because I had had that opportunity that I needed to share that with students, and not only to help them develop their technical skills, but what what he really did for me as a teacher is help me build my confidence
Mhm.
as a clinician, which I think that's such a huge piece that maybe is less considered, right? Because when you're in dental hygiene school, you know the grading system and how everything is, it's maybe a little cut and dry at times, and I think that it can be easy for confidence to be crushed. And some of that maybe depends a little bit on personality types. But I was the type of person that I had said, I wanted it perfect. I just so deeply wanted to just, I felt like I graduated hygiene school, I passed my boards, I should be doing this to perfection. And it's just not realistic.
Yeah,
And he made me feel comfortable with that. He made me feel comfortable with, you know, you're not going to get 100% of this. And he would say, Melanie, I'm not going to get 100% of this. Like, it's okay. It's about doing your best and really, like you said, just taking the opportunity. Because when you see a flat laid, like you teach oral anatomy, right? So the students are taught the anatomy of the teeth and all the concavities and the intricacies of each individual tooth. But it's very different when it's in a socket of bone
yeah.
and it's covered with soft tissue, right? It's like that application of theory. And so so yes, I agree. Like, I mean, I was just afforded the most incredible opportunity out of the gate in my career. And I hope for everybody. I just think that when you first graduate from dental hygiene school, if you can find a mentor, I just think that it, it's priceless. It's absolutely priceless to find somebody that can help sort of cultivate that confidence and those technical skills for you.
Yeah, that's really great. That's a great example too. I mean, I don't think you could get any more support and mentorship there. The
Right?
other thing that I couldn't help but think of, through the process of your story, was how to avoid burnout. You see on
Mhm.
these social media platforms, everybody's talking about burnout. There's people
Yeah.
discussing burnout because the average length of a hygienist's career is like 12 to 13 years. And you and I both agree that the real sweet spot of where you've developed all of your skills and you've done some reflection and you've got your communication skills down and all the different aspects. There's just so many aspects of dental hygiene is that
Yes.
20-year mark.
20-year mark is
Yeah,
huge.
and your story really shows, like, all the different things that you can do to avoid burnout, and
Absolutely.
I just wanna highlight Deb
Yeah.
Albrecht because she
Oh,
is the
so
cornerstone
phenomenal.
she's the cornerstone of seed planter, right?
Yes.
She's
Yes,
so
it's so
good.
true. It's so true. She is, and she's inspirational. I just Deb Deb is such a light. I mean, she truly, truly is. She has such a way about her. Um, I wouldn't be where I am today without Deb, which, I hope she's listening and that she knows that.
Yes, I can say the very same.
Yeah.
It took me a while working with her to recognize that she's a seed planter, and I
Yes,
think everyone needs to, that I think is a key piece of avoiding burnout in your career is surround yourself with people who inspire you to do better and to consider
absolutely.
possibilities, and your story points that out so well, Melanie.
Yeah, and I think with every step that you take, right, like whatever that might look like for you, whether it's like joining a professional association, for me, it was just very natural to continue my education. It was just something that was really important to me. But I think that every time you choose to do something like that, it's like this renewed love of your profession. Like you get to relive that excitement all over again. Like I just remember being in those first couple of years of dental hygiene school and how exciting that was. And sure, like that maybe wanes a little bit as the years go on, but every time that you try something new or you get involved in something new, I think it's a renewal of that. And I think that's another key point to avoiding burnout.
Yeah. And so where would you like to see the profession go? I mean, I see so much talent coming into our program. I'm
Yeah.
excited about the
Yeah.
students. Where do you see it going?
Yes.
Where do you want to see it go?
So I would really like to see a focus um, more so on public health in our state. I think that we're really lacking in sustainable programs. I think we're lacking in funding. As somebody who spent a few years trying to figure out a way to pivot from private practice into public health, it just became very. I was very aware of the fact that the opportunities are limited.
Mm.
And it's not that the need is limited, but the opportunities are limited. So I would like to see that change. I would like to see there be a greater focus on the need that we have within our state and more programs available. Because I do think that there would be plenty of hygienists that would be interested in going in that route. But it really is the lack of job openings available for that.
Yeah.
So that's sort of what I see for myself, like once my children have all graduated and moved out and I can make whatever decisions I want to make for myself professionally without having to have the family considerations. Um, I would like to kind of take the forefront on some of that in an administrative role in public health, whether that be on a city level or a state level. Um, I think that's something that we really need here in New Hampshire.
I agree with you. I feel like we need to have clear pathways
Yes,
because if you were in private practice considering that pivot, there needs to be a clearer pathway because if you're thinking of it, many others are thinking of it as well. And if we really want to meet the needs in a preventive sense of the population, we need to start with making clear pathways for providers
absolutely.
and then make clear pathways for patients, how to connect those two people together. I love that. Oh, I'm
Yes,
excited that you're
yes.
that you're
Yeah,
moving in that direction.
I will be asking you to jump on board, Billy, with all of your contacts and your great ideas.
It takes a village, doesn't it? Because I have found that the most momentum happens when you put a lot of smart people at the table.
You're absolutely right about that. Absolutely. And everyone, with the vision, it though everyone's vision might share it, but everyone has different ideas of how to achieve it. And I think that that's what's so important with networking and collaboration on any of these issues.
Yeah, and I've talked about that on several episodes when I have guests that I wasn't a good networker when I first got out of school. I wasn't good at, staying in contact. I kind of got in my operatory and in my own head, and I
Mhm.
was just kind of doing my thing, taking whatever CEs came about, but not really being intentional about stuff.
Yes. 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 And I think that's probably very common for most people, particularly right out of school, because we're focusing on just making it through, right? And like we said, like really honing in those technical skills. And you're not thinking big picture, I don't think at first, because I agree with you. My earlier years in my career, I I was thinking much more like directly about my job. How do I do my job?
Yes.
Not so much about like, where do I want to see the profession? That just it seemed too big to even think about at that time. But
Yeah.
that's something that I think the longer that you're in the profession, that's something that you feel more comfortable taking on.
Yeah, and I feel like and maybe this was happening when I was, stuck in my operatory and focused on my how do I do my job and my patients. I just feel like there's so many things going on all at the same time right now in our field and in our profession, and we need that collaboration. And when I network with people, what I see is I wanna see some of those 0 to 5-year hygienists and some of those 5 to 10-year hygienists at the table with the seasoned hygienists to have these
Absolutely.
conversations, you know?
Absolutely. I can't agree more.
They bring a different perspective, and we value their perspective. As the 20-plus year hygienist, I wanna
Yes.
hear what their thoughts are, and maybe it's about building that confidence, which is really my focus when I'm working with them, and, hygiene school is hard, and there's
It is.
it's all stressful from start to
It's
finish.
all stressful. It's all stressful. And I do think that, working with the students in community rotations, I have a really unique opportunity to connect with the students on a level that isn't grade focused.
Yeah.
And it's such a gift, right? And it's just one of the first things that I will say to the students when they come in and meet with me is like, this isn't clinic. You don't need to worry about, how much calculus you're leaving behind, like the focus is totally different. I want to see them more just putting everything together and push yourself. See
Yeah.
what you think you can do, because in clinic, maybe you feel a little more like, or at least I did, I'll speak for myself. Like I had to play it a little safe, right? Because it's like, I want to make sure that I don't overstep and then leave too much and have it negatively impact my grade. But community rotations, especially in the prison population, is just an opportunity. Most of the students have never seen dental disease, periodontal disease, or the amount of tartar, that we see with the patient population that is there. So it's really an opportunity for them to get in there and just give it a try, give it a try. And when you say that to the students, like their shoulders just relax. Like it's like, okay. Like, okay, yes, right? So it's like, I feel blessed to just give them that opportunity to like to just work and to just try to do your thing. And today you're a hygienist that's working in a public health setting and just do your best. And then when I get a chance to sit down and just kind of see where we're at, I get to feel sort of like my previous employer where it's like, sure, I'm expecting there to be calculus left, I'm expecting it. And and I can kind of teach them, one-on-one techniques like, put your hand on my instrument here so you can feel this. That was one of the techniques that he would always use. That really helped me.
Oh, I
So it's
love that. Our
yeah.
students are so lucky that they get both of those experiences. Because I know for
Yes.
myself, when I was a student and I went to the prison and I went to the mental hospital, I was able to go to all these different places, and it is a completely different feeling because you're not being the details aren't there, but the big picture stuff is.
Exactly. It's like I feel like you get to see all the light bulbs going off, right? Because it's like they're so hyper focused in clinic about, like you said, like the details, which you have to teach that way. Like, those like foundational building blocks that every student needs to acquire. But when you get the chance to then like break them out and put them into a different situation where it's not so much about the details, but really your bigger picture. You can see them putting all of that theory together,
Yeah.
and they'll be like, "I feel like a real hygienist." It's just so fun. It's so fun.
Yeah, it's confidence building too, which is what we want
A
them to have.
thousand percent.
Yeah, that is
Thousand
so
percent.
great. Well, Melanie, I love what you're doing. I love that you shared your journey. Your journey's just so great. My sisters are nurses, and I chose the right direction myself.
You really did, right? You really did. I mean, and not to say so many. fulfilling and rewarding experience as nurses. God bless them. We need them so terribly. But I agree with you. For my life, for your life, we made the right choices for ourselves.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I love hearing the stories of fulfillment from my sister, but whenever she's telling me something, I'm like, "Oh, I'm so thankful I did teeth. I'm so thankful I did teeth." I love
Exactly.
I love dental, and I know you do too. So,
I really do. I
yeah,
really do.
that's a great place to end our story.
Oh, right.
I would invite you to send me any questions that you need answered. Questions come up when you listen to this podcast. I have a link in the show notes, and I'd be happy to answer any questions that you have. Also, I would appreciate a review if you have time to leave one. Thank you so much.